Welcome, brothers. Now let me make it clear for those who might be confused as to what this channel is about. This channel is about men. It's about shedding light on the male condition and the male experiences that arise out of the male condition, i.e. the things that happen to men because they are men. We try to present the male perspective on the issues, and we don't apologize for that. We want to encourage men to take a closer look at themselves and their role in society, and from that open up a dialogue among men which we hope will lead us to a better understanding of what it means to be a man in the 21st century. We want to introduce men to new ideas and new ideologies which stir their imagination and provoke them to formulate solutions which will address their individual problems and serve as a template for other men on how to navigate their way through life, incurring the least pain, harm and heartache. We want men to understand why they hurt, and most importantly, we want them to understand who is hurting them. In order to do that, it is necessary to talk about the ways millions of ordinary men are disadvantaged and discriminated against in society. You see, very few are able to conceive of men as victims of anything other than their own incompetence, because we're fed the lie that society is male-dominated, which is an idea that doesn't hold up under even the most superficial scrutiny. It's just another quick and easy soundbite chucked around to shut down any real examination of the male condition. The notion that society is male-dominated is both numerically incorrect and theoretically refutable. After the age of 30, there are slightly more women than men, but don't get all hot and horny. Most of the excess is of old women, and by old I mean women aged over 35. Secondly, while men do dominate, i.e. there are more men at the top of society, men do not dominate anywhere else except at the bottom of society. In fact, there are more men at the bottom of society than there are men at the top. If you doubt what I say, then go outside and take a walk around your block for about half an hour and count the number of homeless men you see, and then count the number of homeless women you see, if any at all. When you've done that, then pick any enterprise. It could be your local shopping centre, or the job section in the newspaper, or any agency offering advice, counselling, support or training services. Then pick any medium, for example billboard advertising, or entertainment, including TV, radio, books, films, or just about any other art form you can name. Then tell me whose tastes are being reflected and catered to. Well, as a man, I can assure you that nothing in mainstream popular culture engages my interest. I couldn't give a fuck about something as frivolous and empty of content as Jessica Simpson or any other pop culture diva like that. So this notion that society is male-dominated is a total fallacy. If not, I challenge anyone to prove me wrong. Now let's examine an area where men are said to have rights that are denied to women. The draft, or conscription. Who is in the more desirable position, the man who must answer the call to the draft, or the woman who has the right not to be drafted? Oftentimes what is in truth a male responsibility or burden is portrayed as a male privilege, which has been historically denied to women. But how is it that one of the most onerous burdens a society can place on the shoulders of one of its citizens can be twisted to become an example of oppression of those who are exempt from it? No, being drafted means being sent to the most inhospitable and conflict-ridden places in the world to fight and kill other oppressed people who will in turn torture, maim or kill you right back. I didn't see any women being drafted into Vietnam or the Second World War, but we're told society is male-dominated. Now that was just one of a multitude of examples of how society burdens men with responsibilities while exempting women from the same responsibilities. But I, as a man, am supposed to feel guilty about women's so-called problems because society is allegedly male-dominated. I don't think so. The truth of the matter is, it is men at the top of society and the women who support them. Men like the draft-dodging, hoe-fucking adulterer, Bill Clinton, who send men of lower status into war one day and then pass deadbeat dad laws that send poor men to prison the next. These are the people who dominate society, not ordinary men like you and me. All of this is why my only focus is on men's rights and male empowerment. But who is denying men their rights, Factitian? Answer: everyone. Employers, educational institutions, the healthcare establishment, the welfare state, the legal system, including and especially the family court system, the police, the military, the prison industrial complex, the government, and women. All women. Most of these entities are made up of as many men as women, and all of them are primarily focused on serving the interests of women, invariably at the expense of men's. When a call has to be made between the conflicting interests of men and women, that call is always made in favor of women, which is why I couldn't give a flying fuck about any woman's issue. Neither do I give a damn to play knight in shining armor to defend the quote-unquote honor of any woman, whether she's a so-called good woman or something else. You see, I ain't a pussy beggar who rates women according to how much approval they give me. I'm not interested in presenting both sides of the story. Why? Because I don't see anyone presenting my side of the story. I don't talk about so-called deadbeat dads because I want to be fair. Get it straight. Understand this clearly. I ain't trying to be fair to anyone except right-thinking men. Because when they're blaming black men for their problems, I never hear a single word from anyone intervening in defense of men. For me, the definition of a good woman is very simple. A good woman is a woman who is actively involved in pursuing true equality between the sexes. And by equality, I mean equal opportunity and equal treatment under the law for men in the many areas where men are disadvantaged. Simple. If a woman isn't doing that, then she's not a good woman to me. For those who want to reduce everything down to an issue of finding a good woman and avoiding bad women, let me give you this simple example. If there was no law against rape, and women had to rely solely on a man's good nature as the only protection against rape, do you think it would comfort a rape victim to tell her that she should choose a good man next time? I don't think it would. This is why we have laws against rape that not only punish those who do rape, but also deter those who would rape. Without those laws, we might have more rape. In fact, that's the reason why we have laws, period. Because we understand that without law and law enforcement, people behave badly. That is what this channel is about. It's about educating men in the ways they are oppressed in society and motivating them to become activists in the cause to procure the legal rights and protections they do not currently have. Rights and protections that would deter the temptation to exploit men and punish those who do exploit men. No woman would tolerate a situation where she had to rely solely on trust as the only assurance against rape, even if most men didn't rape. Just as I find it intolerable that men are forced to rely on trust, i.e. a woman's good character, not to have their personal lives ruined. Now, anyone who still doesn't understand why a men's rights movement is necessary to address the imbalance is an idiot who will live to regret being an idiot. Trust me. Later.